You got knocked down. Now it's time to rise stronger than ever. This is Forged by Fire, the Intentional Man podcast, for husbands, fathers, and leaders who refuse to stay broken. We rebuild with purpose, we live with clarity, and we lead like hell's watching. Let's get to work. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Forged by Fire podcast. And today we're going to be talking about something that I've spent a lot of time and energy developing for men in my program. Because most men don't need more advice. What they really need is a mirror, and 30 minutes of brutal honesty goes a long way. And in the Intentional Man program, we call that the Intentional Man stack. A stack is really just a mental debrief. There's 30 prompts, if you will, in a row that really make you face the truth. Really own your part in everything that's going on in your life. And really it gets you ready to take that next step. What we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through how stacks work, why they matter, and how they've become the daily weapon for the men in my program. So the natural question is, what is a stack? What is it all about? So at its core, a stack is very simple. It's 30 prompts, one issue, and one outcome. You're not dealing with a bunch of different things. It's one focused issue. It's not a place to vent. You don't ramble. You really get crystal clear on what's going on and how to turn that around. Think of it like loading weight on a barbell, and every rep in the stack really hits a different mental muscle. By the time you finish with these, all your excuses are going to be stripped away. Some of the patterns that you've gotten into are going to be exposed. And you've got an action step on the calendar now, not a someday fantasy. All right. This isn't for men who want to process their feelings. This is for men who want to stop bleeding energy, want to start leading, and really want to live on purpose. Live intentionally. So why 30 prompts? Because any less than that, you're really going to stay surface level. You're not really going to get to those deep questions. And really, if you start to get more than that, you're just going to quit halfway through. I mean, let's face it, if you're just sitting there answering questions all day, that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish with these stacks. So 30 really is the right amount. 30 really hits a balance of being long enough to break through some of the noise you've got going on, and it's also short enough to finish in one focused setting. I mean, how many of you guys are watching TV shows? Those are 30 minutes. So let's do something productive with our time. So it takes about 30 minutes. It's about a minute a question. But what it gives you back is clarity, it gives you back composure, and gives you back control, really before you blow up your whole day. So here's how you run the stack. You block off 30 minutes, shut the door, phone on airplane mode, and pick the stack that matches your current problem. If you're mad, upset, we call that the rage stack. You're pissed and you don't know why, you're going to pick the rage stack. We also have the grateful stack. This is when you're kind of cynical and you're kind of blind to the good that's going on. This is really going to shift your mind and really help you focus on all the good you have going on in your life. Next, we have ownership. You're blaming. You're playing the victim. I mean, let's be honest. That's not a good place to be. Next, we have the discipline stack. You say you're going to do something, but you never follow through. Next, we have the connection stack. You're drifting from people who matter, whether it's your wife, whether it's your kids, maybe it's a boss at work. It really can be whatever you want it to be. And then lastly, we have vision. And this is really when you feel lost or aimless. If you're feeling lost or aimless, man, grab that vision stack and start doing that deep work. Start really getting clear on where you're headed, where you're going, and this vision stack is going to help you get there. So when you first open a stack, you really want to name it. You want to put a name to it. And again, all this is done by prompts inside the Iron Mind app, but you're going to want to name it. When you answer the questions, really dig and think about it. Look deep inside yourself and answer the questions in 1, 2, 3, just raw sentences. And then move on to the next. Don't stop until you're done. That's the most important part. Some of the stuff you're going to breeze through. But others, when you're really digging deep, when you're really putting in the work to yourself, some of those answers are going to punch you in the gut. Highlight those answers. And when it gives you an action step, schedule that action. Put a real time on it, put a real place on it, and text somebody and say, hold me to it. Accountability is huge in this. So when you make a discovery, when you figure something out, text somebody and have them hold you accountable to it. And really, that's basically the loop. That's how you stop reacting and start recalibrating yourself to live intentionally, to really stop this loop of nonsense. So let's get into the stacks a little bit. First one we talked about was the rage stack. You know, maybe you snapped at your kids, your wife, maybe you're leading a team and you've never offloaded the heat. You've never offloaded all those problems. The rage stack is going to walk you through what triggered you, the history, your role, and really the exit ramp. You write so you don't explode. That's really the key here, is we want to work out all that rage. And again, the prompts are going to direct you. If there's something you're frustrated with, grab that rage stack, man. It's really going to help you. That's really where you're going to be putting in the work. The second is the grateful stack. Now, for me personally, I think I've talked about this before, but this is where things really started to turn for me personally. So often we get caught up in our lives about things that are going well or things that aren't going well. Everything's against me. Everybody's, just whatever we have going on. We forget about all the things that we have to be grateful for. When you get into that survival mode, whatever you're going through, that survival mode makes your brain essentially scan for problems, not wins. And what the stack does is it forces you to see what's working and speak it. Say it out loud. One witness, one time, one expression of respect. Your wife will feel it. You know what's amazing about this stack, probably more than any other stack, is if there's somebody you just don't like, I don't care if it's a coworker, if you and your wife are fighting, if you have that kid that's just absolutely irritating, start doing one of these stacks a day for them. Just one stack a day. And this is actually the shortest stack. This is I believe it's 15 questions. I forget how many questions I did for it, but this one takes about half the time as all the others. But doing this stack will really change your mindset around that person. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to make your worst enemy your best friend. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is it will change your opinion on them. Because what's going to start happening is you're going to start seeing all the good that this person brings to your life. Now, whether that good is challenges that make you grow, whether that's, man, my wife really does do a lot around the house, or, you know what, my kid frustrates me sometimes, but at the end of the day, they're actually a really good kid. Whatever it is, I promise you, do this stack, and in 10 days, you're going to have a completely different outlook on that individual, that situation. So if you're upset at something and you do a rage stack, turn around and do a grateful stack right after for that same individual, that same problem. The next one is the ownership stack. And this stack was really built with extreme ownership in mind. If you guys don't know what extreme ownership is, it's a book that's out there by Jacques something or other. In fact, I think I have it right here. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I don't know. Fantastic book. Anyway, every fire that you're fighting is going to have your fingerprints all over it. And this stack finds them. And what this stack will really start to do is you're going to stop playing the blame game and start cleaning up your own messes. Start taking ownership of everything. Your boss gives you direction that you really don't understand. Go ask them questions. Your employees aren't understanding or aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Go ask them questions. This ownership stack will really allow you to start taking ownership of everything that's going on in your life and realizing how much of it is actually due to the decisions and the way you respond to certain things. Again, go read Extreme Ownership and then do the stack. It'll change your mind. Next, we have the discipline stack. You already know what to do. Bottom line is you're just not doing it. And this one sets the habit sets the trigger, the consequence, and removes what I like to call the loopholes. So you say you're going to wake up every morning at 5 o'clock and go to the gym, but you're not doing it. Why? What are you doing instead? Told your wife you're going to take out the trash, but you're not doing it. Why? What were you doing instead? And this is really going to dig deep into why you don't have discipline in your life and really get you to start questioning the things that, I chose sleep instead of going to the gym. I chose watching a TV show instead of doing laundry. I chose this over that. And this discipline stack is really going to hit home. So if you're struggling with any type of discipline, this stack's the one for you. Next, we've got the connection stack. You love your people, but do they feel it? This one gets you clear on what they need and how you're making it harder on them. Now remember, everybody loves pleasure and runs from pain. I don't care if that's your wife. I don't care if that's your kids, your coworkers, your boss, your employees. People go to pleasure and run to pain. What are you causing? And how is your connection with your wife, your kids, your employees, coworkers, whatever? How is that affected by you? Are you causing them pain or are you causing them pleasure? And if everybody's running away from you, I think the answer is pretty simple, don't you? So what this stack is going to do is it's going to leave you with one tangible act of service you can do today so you can start re-examining those connections and start reconnecting with those individuals. And next, we've got the vision stack. Every one of us men should have a vision for our career, for our family, for retirement. You should have vision in your life. If you don't have vision, you're just drifting. And when you really think about it, it's like walking around on an empty map that's just blank. You have no direction. You don't know where you're going. You're just wandering aimless in the desert. Kind of like the Israelites just walking aimlessly. Are you going to do that for 40 years? Or are you going to get some vision? Are you going to understand where you're headed, why you're going there, what it's going to take to get there? Because once you have the vision, man, go do a discipline stack and understand how you're going to get there, what discipline is needed to get there. Then go do an ownership stack to start taking ownership of these things. You see, you're going to do one stack and then you're going to realize, okay, there's some gaps over here. I need to go get some clarity over here. And this is the app to get that done. So no more walking aimlessly. This stack really makes you name what you're targeting for. It makes you take a look and measure that gap and set a path forward. Whether it's a small step or whether it's a giant leap, that's what this one's going to do. Get some vision. And one thing I've learned a long time ago, and my wife and I, Crest and I sat down, I believe it was just last night. We had this conversation again. We're making some plans in our life right now, and we just agreed we're not telling anybody. Whatever it is, we're just not saying anything. There are certain individuals we have to tell. We have to include some people in on this. But we have clear direction where we're headed. We know where we want to go. We understand the obstacles that are ahead of us. But what we're doing right now is planning and preparing for that next step, whatever that may look like. But that means us sitting down, having a conversation, and getting unified on our vision, our goals, and where we want to go. And that's what we did last night. We made a little pact between each other that, we want to take this step. We want to go this direction. Here's what it's going to take to get there. Here's the point in the journey at which we will let other people know what our plans are. Because the last thing you want, specifically with your wife and your family, is for some person outside of that relationship to influence what you and your wife want to do. And so we've made that decision. We're just going to keep it to us, good, bad, or otherwise. But now we can move forward and go try to execute this vision. Will it happen? Maybe. But we're gonna set on this. We know what we need to do. We understand some of we understand some of the discipline we need to have to get there. We understand what kind of ownership in certain aspects of our lives we need to take to get there. And again, this is all conversations we've had. So if you're one of those guys that doesn't have a vision, that isn't sharing vision with your wife, what the hell, man? Do the stack. Get some vision. Let her understand where you're going. Let her understand that you guys just aren't aimlessly wandering through this life, that you have visions, you have goals, and this is how we're going to get there. Man, just be a leader. So that was a little insight into kind of how I use the stacks, but let's just face it. You don't need therapy. You don't. You just need reflection. You need time to really reflect on the things surrounding your life. And the first thing you've got to do is kill the lie. You've got to own the truth, and you've got to decide what step I'm taking next. Because if you're sitting here lying to yourself saying, well, it's not my problem, it's their problem. It's not, my boss is a jerk, so I'm never getting promoted. My wife is cold. She's never going to have sex with me. My kids are idiots. They're never going to go anywhere. I'm going to be supporting them my whole life. Dude, that's a rabbit hole you need to get the hell out of. And quick. Stop making excuses. And that's really what these stacks are going to do. They're going to stop making the excuses, because one of the things we do in these stacks is I don't like this terminology, but it makes sense. You're going to tell your story. You're going to write everything down on why your wife's the worst, why your kids are the worst, why your boss is the worst, why you can't wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. You're going to write all this down. And then what we're going to do is you're going to start looking at it from another angle. All right. Now I hear some of you saying, well, I'm right. And maybe you are. I'm not ignoring that possibility. But what if you're not? What if you are the one in the wrong? And that's what these stacks do. They force you to look at it. They pull the pin on some of that buried rage you have. They restore the lens when you've gone negative. They're going to end these stupid blame cycles that you've got going on. They're going to get you to enforce discipline in your life. And the best part, they're going to rebuild trust. How awesome is that? If you could rebuild trust by seeing the pain you're causing people, causing them to run away from you, and start causing those same people pleasure so they run towards you, how much different would your life be? And of course, it's also going to give you some damn direction in your life. And you can't sit here telling me that if you're always mad at your wife, that you're always mad at your kids, that you've got solid direction. 9 times out of 10, you're running aimlessly. You don't know which way's up. Man, it's time to start getting some things straight. I'm telling you, 1 stack a day is going to change it. Start with rage. Start with ownership. Start with one of them. And see the changes it's going to make in your life. Look, man, I honestly don't give a shit if you never journal a day in your life. You've written reports. You've probably debriefed your bosses on some stupid shit that you don't really care about. You've made to-do lists. We've all done that. Here's the deal. This is kind of the same thing, only now you're the focus. You want to lead your family? Fix your own shit first. You want your wife to respect you again? You're a man who owns his side and executes what he says he's going to do. You want peace? You're going to have to stack your way through it, man. You're going to have to stack your way through that noise. I'm telling you, do these stacks, watch the change. So start today. Pick a stack, run it all the way through. Don't half-ass it, run it all the way through. And if you want this full stack system in your pocket, go to ironmindapp.com and get the app. It's where you're going to find every stack, every prompt, every drill. It's laid out for you, man. There's no fluff. You don't need any more noise. You need structure, clarity, and reps. If you're serious about rebuilding your leadership from the inside out, go ahead and take that brutally honest marriage audit inside the app and find out exactly where you stand. Links are in the show notes as always. This is Forged by Fire, the Intentional Man podcast. Lead loud, love harder, and stack your way to clarity.